Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Turrtle, and I am outside the shell, but really inside because I'm inside Noho2 Studio. This past week, we featured tons of paintings by Nicolette Spear, and here she is with me. How's it going?
Hi, everybody. It's going great.
So, tell me about this preview of your work, I was watching it and looking at it. I noticed a few things. Okay, one is I think you might have an obsession with turtles, which is great.
I do love turtles.
What is it about them?
They're very in tune with the ground and the earth and the ocean. They're kind of like elemental and ancient. They live a really long time, so interested in them for that reason. They carry the world in some myths.
Do you think that the turtle is your power animal?
My power animal is the rabbit, but turtles are fairly significant.
You heard it here first, folks. Secondly, I did notice that in your work there are parallels of humans. And music. I saw music notes and a lot of distinguishing human traits in all your work, maybe except for like two. But that made me wonder about how you portray humans as you are, painting.
A lot of my portrayal of the human figure has to do with an internal debate that I have, that I include in my paintings a lot, which is, what is it to be human? What's the human condition? And it seems to me that it's filled with a lot of paradox. So I have a lot of contrasting elements in my artwork when there's a human figure. Natural things and man-made things like architecture and civil engineering and things that I feel represent the human spirit, which is music and color. Yeah.
I did want to say this, and I'm not totally sure, so you can help me on this. Are you from the Venice scene? Is that where you get most of your inspiration from?
I live in Miracle Mile, which is mid Wilshire. I was doing a lot of artwork on Venice Beach and selling a lot of art on Venice Beach, but and I'm still doing that, but I'm more focused everywhere. I mean, as you can see, I'm in North Hollywood, so I'm expanding, but that's kind of where I got my start when I first came to LA.
Cool. I see like a lot of like influence in there too, just with like the colors that you used. To me, it's kind of Venice-y.
Beachy. Yeah. I do love the ocean, and I was born in Hawaii, and I think that kind of tropical energy kind of travels with me. But I grew up mostly in Maine, so that's a bit of a contradiction.
Well, Maine is synonymous with the sea.
That's true. It is a very ocean-centric place.
Exactly. Your website, NicoletteSpear.com, that's where people can go and take a look at your catalog as well as make purchases. This show, what I liked another thing about this show, John K. Goodman, you worked with him, and some of your work is featured. So it's kind of is it weird seeing your artwork and then your work that you've done with photography kind of together in the same room?
I think it's nice. It's pleasant. I mean, we kind of curated it that way, so it's not a surprise. I've been getting into a lot of body painting this year, and the best way to capture body painting is through photography, and then the tableau vivre stuff where you've got the body painted figure in front of the painting, and the painting is like coming to life is really exciting, and I'm happy to work with John because he's really talented.
I was wondering if as I'm admiring the body paint work, did you paint your body? Is your body in any of these?
No.
Damn it.
It's very difficult to paint on yourself, actually. Although my friend Maya, the one that I've painted there, Maya Papaya, she's a wonderful performer. People say she looks like me. So, yeah, but no, it's not me, it's Maya.
I can, maybe you can help me distinguish between canvas as opposed to human. You know, as far as painting, have you noticed there is a contrast between the two, or are they kind of the same?
They're very different, very, very different. But as you noticed, I really like working with the human figure. So, and a lot of the time I'll have like actually human figures that look as though they've been painted on. So when I started actually painting on human figures, it was kind of a natural extension of that, but it's more three-dimensional and more sculptural, and I've actually been getting into sculpture too lately. But yeah, the canvas is pretty flat compared to an individual.
Well, yeah, because individuals are so curvy, yeah, and annoying at times. You're just like, yeah. I'm almost done painting you, just shut up.
I know you have to pee.
Like, go pee on the freeway or something, I don't know.
That's from a previous conversation.
Yes, it's an extremely private conversation. Wanted to also talk to you about, there's a lot of angels, or maybe I'm just perceiving that in your work. Why is that? Is that another part of the human mythos that you're trying to establish?
Well, so, and this kind of like speaks about my entire oeuvre. So you're opening up, you're peeling into the shell of a really layered onion. But
I know theshell.com, by the way.
Yeah. So it's, well, is it an egg, or is it an onion, or is it, I don't know, it's something with lots and lots of layers. So all of my artwork, I would say, comes from inspiration that I get while doing yoga or meditating, and I believe that I tap into a place that I consider to be, or I call the universal unconscious, which is kind of like a shared place. It's a Jungian idea. It's like the shared place where like archetypes and symbols and myths and religions and all of these kind of ideas that human beings have, you know, when I was talking about like what does it mean to be human, right? All of those things kind of reside in the universal unconscious, and you'll see not just angels, but, you know, deities like Ganesha, iconic people, all kinds of things that are floating around in there and kind of define, you know, our existence in a subtle way.
I did see an Elvis and a Marilyn Monroe as well.
Yeah. Which actually the Marilyn Monroe piece is sold from the show, which I'm really happy about. But yeah, there's something about those characters. It's not just them. They're like archetypes, you know. They're symbols themselves. So I think they kind of, and especially having passed away, I think they reach into that realm of the kind of universal unconscious where we're all connected and sharing these ideas.
Lastly, and we touched upon this kind of briefly, you did painting, and now you're painting bodies, and now you're moving to sculptures. What is it? Is it the idea of working with foreign objects in your hands that's intriguing to you, or is it truly art of trying to conquer, you know, molding and the canvas and color?
As far as like the cross-medium platform, I definitely enjoy the challenge. I mean, I make my stretcher bars and my canvases.
Really?
Like, yeah, I make everything. You know, my Home Depot is my favorite place. So like, I'm definitely really like being constructive and trying new things and the challenge. But I think mostly I follow my intuition, because I didn't really choose to start body painting. I was painting on myself, you know, my face for decoration, and then you know, someone asked me to do their Halloween costume, and I ended up painting the human musculature system on him, And everybody loved it so much that then other people started asking me, and then all of a sudden I just became a body painter. And I think with the sculptural aspects, I mean, I do have a lot of texture in my paintings, but I hadn't really breached out into sculpture until I got this job working with this wonderful woman who has cerebral palsy, and she is a sculptor, and my job was to help her make sculptures. So now I've started making sculptures because I had to figure out how to use it and how to do all that for her. So I guess it's just kind of following where the universe, or whatever you want to call it, is pulling me.
I like to think the universe, you know?
Yeah, the universe, destiny, I don't know.
And your destiny lies at NicoletteSpear.com. Make sure to go there. You can check out her work. You can get in contact. Is there any other way people can contact you about your work?
I have a couple of Facebook pages. There's Nicolette Spear Art, which is my art page, and then there's Nicolette Spear Body Painting, which is my body painting page. And on my website, if you were interested in purchasing something or contacting me, and I do sell prints of my work as well, you can find my email address under contacts, and you can just contact me personally. I prefer to make personal connections with people that are going to have my artwork in their home.
Wondering real quick about your artwork and when you paint. Every time I think of a painter painting, I always envision them in huge overalls with like colors all over. Yeah. Do you do it like that, or?
I have a lot of painting clothes, and I'm developing new painting clothes all the time, as clothes that I don't mean to be painting clothes get painted on and then become painting clothes. But yeah, it's a messy business, There's no way of getting around that.
Any other shows that you have coming up that you would like to plug?
I am actually going into artistic hibernation for a couple of months, and I had a lot of shows this past year. Before I started working with Eden and doing art therapy with her, I was just working and living as an artist and having shows all the time. And it was a little bit exhausting, and I think I just want to make some artwork and be creative and not worry about the shows for a little bit. But probably I'll have some shows in January or February.
Cool. So make sure to log on to NicoletteSpear.com. Thank you so much for agreeing and allowing me to interview you and taking a look at all your art. Very appreciative.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for the interview. I think that's John.
And John, enter John. And as you can tell, John just walked in, which is great because just like photography, it's all about those exact moments.
All about the timing.
Exactly. And very curious about your philosophy when it comes to photography.
Well, my philosophy is definitely of the verite school. Like, I really like to try and capture the moment of my experience, whatever that moment might be. I don't do a lot of setup or studio work. I just go out and I go to places I wouldn't go normally and try and find things I wouldn't shoot normally. And that's becomes my normal, sort of.
It's real crazy because I myself am a photographer, but the thing about me is I don't believe in Photoshop. I believe in what you capture at that moment is what you capture in that moment, and if you captured it, then you got it right, and if you didn't capture it, well, then it wasn't meant to be. You need to go back and try to figure out how to make that moment exact. Is that crazy of a philosophy?
It's not crazy. I think Photoshop has its place. I certainly use it. Pretty much everyone I know uses it. But it all depends on what kind of thing you're trying to do. Certainly some very illustrator type photographers use it to create things that aren't there, because that is not what they're not attempting to capture a moment or to portray something in a real fashion. I do. So mostly I just use Photoshop for color correction, things like that, brightening and darkening. I don't create things that aren't there out of thin air or anything like that. That's kind of what I think of as the verite school of realism, sort of.
As I was, by the way, let me, for people that want to see more of John's work, log on to johnkgoodman.com. There you'll find a complete dossier of all your work, correct?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff on there. Photography work mostly, of course.
Right. And what was great, again, about Noho2 Studio was that, of course, they were showcasing your work, that you can actually come. So log on to Noho2.com if you want to schedule a visit to preview all of your work. And, of course, this is just a small portion of your work, correct?
Very small, yes. Yeah, indeed.
I noticed, too, and maybe I can talk about some of my favorite pieces. And maybe you can give me some insight. But the one to me that stood out the most was the one. What is it called? Rainbow. The one where this guy is, on a skateboard and he has the tricolor socks.
Well, that's actually a woman. Her name's Mary.
That was close.
Yeah, she's a skater at the Venice skate park from time to time. And that photo was just a shot I'd been trying to get all evening because of the nice edge lighting on the lip of the bowl. And she had that great kind of 70s color style socks thing going. And I, being sort of a child of the 70s and 80s, am automatically attracted to that. So, it was just a nice shot. It's hard to go wrong there. You've got the sunset, the sea, the mountains, the beach, and very, very talented young people.
When you saw that photo, were you just like, oh?
I probably do that more than you'd think. That was definitely most of the ones I put in the show were that kind of picture where either when I took it or when I got it home and was able to really look at it, I had a moment of, kind of that exaltation. Yeah.
One of the things that I found interesting, and it goes over some of your work, is, and what was crazy is the water portion of your work. And I only say that because, that some of them, there are humans, but for me, what I gravitated to was the actual water. And the reason why, it's because the ocean is such a living thing, and when you capture the water, whether it's on a human or it's just, curling onto shore, is that moment, and that exact water will never be that way again.
Yeah, you've really nailed the essence of it there. And I even say something to the effect of that when I'm shooting surfers, for example, I'm always shooting two entities, the surfer and the water, because the water is very much an organic living thing, and it's never the same second to second. And for the wave series I do, for example, that one there, those are kind of an exercise in patience and timing and just luck, because they're kind of the moment when gravity and pressure lose the battle and the wave just breaks. And certain beaches are better than others, I found, for that. Venice Beach is great for that sort of stuff. But I look forward to going out globally and trying that elsewhere too.
Have you been doing anything global?
Yeah, I've been shooting in Japan, also in Australia, just because I have family in both of those countries. But some of the Japan stuff I took over New Year's is on the site, and I recommend checking that out, especially some of the stuff that was shot in Shinjuku Temple in Tokyo over New Year's Day.
Actually, I did see one of those photos, and it was crazy because it was the one where there's I don't know if it was a guy or girl. Obviously, you could tell I'm really bad with gender. And that was it was like dark, and there was a person with a surgical mask over them.
Well, that in Japan is simply a cultural difference, because people are very considerate when they're sick. They try and mask themselves so they don't infect others. And so when you see people with a mask, it's just them trying to be considerate and not infecting other people because they have to go out for whatever reason. And sometimes if it's winter, you might see people just wearing them because they don't want to get sick. They're trying not to catch anything. But in Japan, no one even thinks about it. It's just considered normal. But here, we go there, we see it, we think, oh, maybe what's wrong with that person, but it's nothing really.
Did that pique your fascination of just the texture that the mold around the nose and mouth created?
Not so much the texture or the mold, but more the sense of anonymity that it provides. Certainly, Japan is an interesting country culturally. It's really able to mix the very, very old aspects of its culture with the incredibly new postmodern technological future it has. And people in that, I think, try to find anonymity because it's such an incredibly populated and dense country. Most of the people live in the cities, and they are huge. So any chance you get for a little privacy or a little anonymity, I think people enjoy that.
Wanted to touch real quickly, and I talked to Nicolette about you, and now it's the reverse of you talking with her. And I noticed that you did collaborate on some of your pieces with her and had her paint some bodies. And I'm very curious as to how you went about shooting it. Was it more, on the context of I'm shooting a human, or was it more you were fascinated by the color?
Well, first of all, I should say I didn't get her to do anything. She was just doing her thing, and I was trying to kind of be a fly on the wall and just take pictures. Sometimes I do ask people to just freeze for a moment, but that's really about it. I really prefer things to just flow along naturally and normally. I'm drawn to the whole process, really, but certainly the color. That she was working in this nice kind of teal blue, as you can see in some of the pictures here, and it really well contrasted with the orange skin tones of the model, and orange and green blue is always a great combination, of course. We see that a lot. So that was a great inspiration. There's some photos I have of the model fire dancing. Her name's Maya Papaya, by the way. She's very talented. And but I didn't really ask them to do anything. I did ask Maya to just strike this pose in front of the picture for that one. That was about it. But really, all of Nicolette's artwork did the rest. They blended together so well, the painting and the actual body painting, that it's almost like camouflage.
Definitely. Lastly, wanted to talk to you about the difference, and this is kind of my first experience when I see photography on canvas as opposed to what is this, paper, or is that?
Yeah, photographic prints that I do at home. Basically, they are the highest quality possible that I can do for home printing, but I can only go up to a certain size and resolution with them. The canvas prints offer an alternative for larger printing, but often some images just seem to benefit from the texture that the canvas creates. Just definitely not all of them. For some, it's a detractor. So those, of course, I try and do just as a standard format print. But canvas is nice. It has its place. It really just depends on the photo.
Okay, well, there you have it. Log on to johnkgoodman.com. There you can get in contact. Now, can people just send you a request for you to go take photos of them?
Yes, as long as they don't mind, that we agree on a framework to work together in first, which I will prefer it to be loose and then just doing what they do naturally. Like I said, I don't do a lot of studio work. I am equipped to do it. If someone wants to do studio work, great, but I prefer to do it in the kind of more spontaneous mode. But they can contact me by email on my website, and that's usually the best way.
Very cool. Lastly, are your pieces going to be here at Noho2 Studio for a while so people can come and check them out?
Yes, they will be here for at least a month or so, I hope. And then after that, I'm not sure where they'll be heading to next, but hopefully they'll have a home.
Do you have another exhibit that you're doing?
Not currently, so if anyone has space and they're looking, I have a show for you.
Very cool. Thank you so much. And thank you again for having your stuff here at Noho2 Studio. It really brightens the day. I know when I come in and I do a show, the artists that come in, and they're just, it's a little distracting, I will say, at times, because they're veering off into, your portraits. And I'm trying to ask them a serious question or something like that. I'm like, hey, but I like that because it brings out, the artist's inner artist when looking at it.
You got to be yourself. That's really a secret to life, definitely.
Definitely. So thanks again to Nicolette Spear and, of course, John K. Goodman for coming in and allowing their work to be displayed here. And so for everybody here at Enter the Shell, which is only really me, let's face it, guys, come on. No, I'm just kidding. There's tons of people. Thank you. And this concludes another episode of Outside the Shell.